So Kamala is on vacation, of course, but she recently came back with a message to her people, her supporters. Now, I've sat through a couple of iterations of the video, and I have no idea what she's trying to say. I don't know if she is on Xanax, she's tired, she is cranky, she's drunk, because everything that she's saying makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, it is the most incoherent garbage I've ever seen from a presidential candidate. I mean, even Joe Biden can put together sentences that are far more reliable and make sense than what we saw here. And this is an example of the Democrats and really their inability to understand voters. And also, this really says a lot about the Democratic Party falling apart. And I recently also saw a video done by Shoot on Head, also talking about the downfall of the Democrats and what happened to them. And the thing is, folks, there is no saving that party. And I'm going to be talking about Bernie Sanders a little bit later in this show. That nutless wonder seems to have found his spine miraculously. But this is 8 years too late. And when I say we have to build movements and organizations not connected to Washington, D.C., start building up real independent third-party movements. That's right, Greens and Libertarians. I'm looking at you. Get your house together or you're going to be pushed aside too. And we need to start focusing again on citizen ballot initiatives. And the reason why I keep pushing this is because those that rely on electoral politics are going to keep on getting dragged along, and you're going to keep on consuming that neoliberal corporate soup from MSNBC and CNN as they lost their entire credibility going to bat for Kamala. I mean, the polling numbers and information showing Kamala was in the lead was nothing but misinformation. Another example of corporate media lying to you. But as the great Cat Williams once said, all lies will be exposed. Say it again, great prophet.
All lies will be exposed.
Case in point, ladies and gentlemen, Kamala Harris speaking to you, the people. If anybody knows what she's saying, seriously, let me know in the comment section, because this is just, I don't know what this is. And I think we're dumber because we are listening to it.
Look, this mission that we have, it takes hard work. But as you've heard me say many times, we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work can be joyful work. And in doing our work, we will remain committed and intentional about building community, building coalitions, reminding people that we all have so much more in common than what separates us. We will be armed with the faith and the fuel that tells us what is possible and then drives us to achieve it. Look.
Yeah. Look, I've done my fair share of television and video work. That was just the body language itself just says so much about how she is not all there. And hold on. Just another video. I'm sorry, but we're not going to sit through the whole thing because even corporate media decided to have its little spin on it too. Let's play it.
I just have to remind you, don't you ever let anybody take your power from you. You have the same power that you did before November 5th. And you have the same purpose that you did. And you have the same ability to engage and inspire. So don't ever let anybody or any circumstance take your power from you.
Hey, let's have democracy in the chat. Is Kamala straight in this video? Type 1 for yes, kid, she is. She's being passionate. She's telling us don't let anybody take our power away from us. Type 2, I don't know, man. I want to read a super chat here again. Shout out to Eric Cruz, one of my legionnaires. Kamala Harris is high as F because she knows Biden has started World War III. Listen, Eric, I'm not going to tell you to go see the White House counselor, but if this is the last super chat that we ever have, if this is our last Thanksgiving, I just want to go on the record. I hope you're wrong, but when that mushroom cloud explodes over Chicago, which I hope it doesn't, just listen. Thank you for being a loyal audience member, because I want you to be so wrong about that. I want you to. But a lot of articles and videos are coming out that are making me, well, just a little bit kind of sort of nervous. So corporate media had its breakdown because of this. They had their little talk about it. And of course, the people at the soon to be defunct, I hope, soon to be broke, I hope, soon to be ripped apart and buried 6 feet under, BSDNC, decided to weigh in on it. Take it away, people. It was a segment called Way Too Early. Oh, God, that's such a lame title.
Governor Tim Walz held a final video call yesterday with their campaign's grassroots volunteers and donors. Both Harris and Walz thanked everyone on the call for their hard work during the condensed whirlwind campaign, while also encouraging them to stay engaged in politics as Donald Trump prepares to re-enter the White House.
Let me just say to everyone on this call, I am so grateful for you.
I'm so grateful because y'all ate up my lies. God, man, that smugness at the DNC convention here in Chicago, me and Daniel could feel it, okay? Jimmy Dore was there, man. I remember watching some of the videos where Jimmy Dore was at the DNC convention. He's like, Jesus Christ, so much money's wasted on this. I forget which live stream that was, but I just remember where he's just walking around the United Center saying it was one big waste of time. We had Russell from Due Dissidence, and RBN was there with us too. And listen, you had to have been on the ground there just to see the big walls, the overhyped up propaganda surrounding Kamala Harris. I mean, the downfall is delicious to watch, but the fact that there are still sycophants holding on to the audacity to hope that maybe Kamala has a plan, maybe she could be high as F. And the reason why is because the Biden administration, or at least because it seems like Kamala's no longer involved. She has hands off. The VP's not in the house. Biden seems to be on the super fast rush of instigating a fight with Putin. I mean, who's running the ship right now? And in the off chance, hey, Barron, you need to talk to your dear old pops right now to maybe tell Putin to lay off everything, or maybe call for a ceasefire or something like that, because something's got to be done. Because Biden, somehow out of the blue, folks, and you're not going to believe this. Hold on. Just before we go back to with Kamala, Biden is seeking an extra $24 billion for Kiev. So everyone, I want all you people to stop asking for Medicare for all and student debt forgiveness, because Kiev needs another $24 billion. Like, where's our money? Kamala, listen. If you want to save your legacy, put down the wine. And I don't know, maybe controversial statement. Stop Biden from instigating WW3.
And I'm so thankful to you. I'm thankful for your love of our country and your willingness to put the work into it. And I know this is an uncertain time. I'm clear-eyed about that. I know you're.
You don't look clear-eyed. You don't look clear-eyed. No, you don't.
Clear-eyed about it. And it feels heavy. And I just have to remind you, don't you ever let anybody take your power from you. You have the same power that you did before November 5th. And you have the same purpose that you did. And you have the same ability to engage and inspire.
Joining us now, staff.
That didn't inspire anything. And once again, proves to the point on how all of us in independent media were correct in calling out these shills and these hack fraud losers. You know, a lot of you liberal trolls have been awfully quiet. A lot of you are fleeing to blue sky and hiding like little cowards. A lot of you are dismissing yourselves or breaking away from social media. Hey, liberals, right now, you need to come down to the term of that we were correct, you guys were wrong, and now what? You're going to disengage from politics? You're going to give up? Why not redeem yourselves? I mean, hell, come on, hang out with Hard Lens Media. We'll re-educate you. You know, you'll get the proper education. You don't have to eat that neoliberal gruel anymore.
Writer at The Atlantic, Mark Leibovich. Mark, good to see you. So your latest piece for The Atlantic is about these Democrats in defeat. It has the headline, "In Praise of Clarity." Explain, if you will, what clarity you think the Democrats should receive.
In praise of clarity. That's a terrible title. It's a terrible message. Here's the clarity. Kamala was a piss poor candidate. Biden was a senile old bat. The Democratic primary is a rigged system. It is evidently clear that 2024, the system was rigged, just like it was in 2016 and in 2020 for the Democratic primary. What a shocker. We were proven correct. Boy, I wish I could go back in time and tell a young Kit Cabello and a young Daniel Upker, hey guys, you're going to be proven correct. You're just going to be disappointed with other people.
From the results of this month's election.
Well, to be clear, but we're talking about numeric clarity. And look, I think over the last few weeks, there's been a bit of a revisionist history, and I think some of it has to do with the numbers coming in about how decisive this defeat was.
Back from the road. Thank you. It's a super chat. You have the same power as before November 5th. Absolutely none, unless you're a large donor. That's right. If you don't got that cash money, you got nothing. George Carlin, the great saint, said it best. It's one big club, and you ain't in it.
Was for them. I mean, I think it was decisive. I think in some ways the clarity of the popular vote loss is instructive and potentially helpful for them as far as having a real kind of discussion and a real kind of clear look about where they are and where they're going forward. But also just it doesn't have the muddle of, even in the case of 2016, when Hillary Clinton was like, yeah, well, at least she won the popular vote, or well, if 2 votes in this state or in 2 counties or this or that went the other way. I mean, you still hear some of that, but ultimately, I think.
No. Hey, listen, you haven't seen the mental gymnastics until you've seen a TikTok video of people saying Kamala is somehow going to take the White House away from Trump. Okay? And outlets like BSDNC have been given that propaganda of the fear of Trump. I mean, I know what to expect under a Trump presidency. I'm not going to be shocked about it. I'm not afraid about it. I am not going to live like a coward. I am actually going to, once again, do what I do best, and that is cover the news, give my analysis and coverage of it, and encourage all of you to be free thinkers and to make your own decisions and your own thoughts. That's what we need to do. But corporate media, you guys fed this lie up. I want to read a super chat here from Roger Meadows, who said, sounds like she was believing her own hype, then got a reality check. Absolutely. We were proven correct. Corporate media was proven wrong, as were the Democrats.
Democrats have been involved in I think a pretty rigorous and kind of maybe a 5 stages of grief kind of process where they're trying to figure out where this went wrong and where to go from it. I mean, it could be pretty simple as maybe just finding a good candidate, or it could be something much deeper about sort of how to win back working class voters.
Yeah, it's certainly a narrow defeat, but certainly more convincing than in 2016. Lots of
it was an ass beating.
Questions for Democrats. So, Mark, you're one of the best chroniclers of Washington itself and the culture of the Capitol. And you wrote about how Donald Trump, when he first came in, what a shock to the system he was to Washington. But now it's Act 2. How do you think that Republicans there, who were so subservient the first time around, will behave this time? And what sort of resistance, if any, can Democrats mount?
Oh, God, the resistance. Oh, God. Brace yourself for the pink pussy hats.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I mean, it's a really key question we're all kind of asking here around Washington. I mean, to some degree, there is a principle at work, which is that when Republicans in the Trump era are going to be called upon to act sort of courageously as a bulwark against his inclination to take as much power as possible, they will cave. They will, do the less courageous thing. I mean, we've seen that time and time again with.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about this for a second here. I want to just put it aside here. Is anyone going to be surprised that Trump is going to be using his political power? I mean, right now he's got the keys to the entire system. The Republicans and conservatives won the United States Senate and House. They've control of the presidency. Tic-tac-toe, 3 in a row. What do we do next? Well, For those who are clear-minded and understand what the bigger issue is, citizen ballot initiatives, relying on electoral politics to save us is a fool's hope. Now, if you are a Trump voter and you're excited for your favorite congressman and woman that are somehow going to fight for you, you're gravely mistaken, because a lot of those politicians, just like the Democrats, are doing insider trading. They're filling their own pockets. They're not looking out for you. You are the least of their concern. So from here on out, the best way to get out of this mess is to not play their game. So this whole idea of resistance, if you're still going to rely on the politicians to save you, you're not resisting. You're still being a good servant. You're begging, please, sir, please, ma'am, please look out for us. But all this hype, all this talk, I want to pull up this other video here. Look, Democrats got to realize that whatever they were trying to do, they were always going to lose at it.
The root of this mistake actually came very early on. They didn't run a process. They made an excuse of $317 million in the kitty. They kept the same campaign manager and said, we will anoint this faulted, broken candidate who was inconsequential in her vice presidency, lost in 2019, as you detailed, complete loser in 2020, never could articulate anything, had no compassion for people and her own advocates. Let's not forget this. I remember the minute this happened, I was in Europe. She went on to The View. All those women wanted her to win. They threw her a softball. They threw her a second softball. She was so weak as a candidate, she couldn't even answer that she would do something different. It ricocheted around the world. She was finished.
Well, let me go.
They will never do that again.
I said
The
at the beginning
root
that
of
she should have
this.
done-
Now look. That's one of the hosts of Shark Tank, and I have to say Kevin O'Leary is correct about this. And this is something, hey, liberals, your gal, even in those drunk messages, what was her overall message here? What was she trying to say to people? Even then, I want to pull up this other video here. This is in regards towards Kamala and what was happening with her and her campaign. Case in point, just so you guys understand, the Harris campaign is now blaming their loss on one of their biggest cheerleaders, the media itself. The Democrats, the Simplecrats, as I saw Bad Cookies in my live stream chat call them, are consuming themselves because they don't know what to do now.
I would say, I mean, look, I am not media hater by any measure. And I think that, we women don't get far in life talking about double standards. So that's not the point. But I do think a narrative, 107 days, 2 weeks fucked up because of a hurricane, 2 weeks talking
Language, lady, language. This is a family frickin' friendly show. If I hear any more swearing, I'm going to frickin' lose it.
about how she didn't do interviews, which, she was doing plenty, but we were doing in our own way. We had to, be the nominee, had to find a running mate and do a rollout. I mean, there was all these things that you kind of want to factor in, but real people heard in some way that we were not going to have interviews, which was both not true and also so counter to any kind of standard that was put on Trump that I think that was a problem. And then on top of that, we would do an interview, and to Stephanie's point, the questions were small and processy and about
dumb.
They were not informing a voter who was trying to listen to learn more or to understand. And I'm not here to say that.
Stop complaining. You had the whole media behind your back and you still screwed up. You had Hollywood celebrities, actors, actresses, directors. You had Instagram and TikTok and X and Facebook influencers. You had it all. $1 billion and kaboom, you lost it. You are out of your league. And I don't want to mansplain it to you, but I will. This job ain't for you. Kamala gave a drunk or incoherent message, whatever that was. Meanwhile, Biden is somehow again, look, got to pull up this title up. Biden seeking an extra $24 billion for Kiev. Hey, Kamala, you want to comment on that? Outgoing U.S. President Joe Biden, look, there he is. Don't ask for Medicare for all, Jack, or student debt forgiveness, or infrastructure, We got money to spend on war. Has quietly asked Congress to allocate an additional $24 billion in Ukraine-related spending. Like, is Ukraine the 51st state? Is it? Because they're getting a lot of money here. The funding pitch includes $16 billion to backfill U.S. stocks depleted by deliveries of weapons to Kiev, $8 billion to pay U.S. armed producers for contracts in support of Ukrainian military. The news outlet said Politico is covering this, calling Biden's bid a long shot. The report is based on a document produced by the White House Office of Management and Budget, which is sent lawmakers on Monday, according to political sources on Capitol Hill. The Biden administration previously vowed to spend every dollar already approved for Ukraine before the president leaves office on January 20th. Last week, he also wrote off some $4.7 billion in forgivable loans to Kiev. So he forgave their debt. He's forgiving their debt. He's not going to forgive your debt. And yet this lady here has the audacity to say that the media wasn't on her side. I mean, even this dude looking at her is like, biatch, please. You don't know what you're talking about. None of these people know what they're talking about. I am ever hopeful for the mass extinction level event. Elon Musk, don't buy MSNBC. Let it die on the vine. Let CNN go belly up. Let all these institutions die off. They are not credible. And if we're not for the jackboot of the censorship that happens to every one of us in independent media, more people, I think, would be informed. Look at these people. They had it all. They had it all, and they lost it. I'm speechless with the stupidity. I'm bemused with the stupidity. And yes, I'm also enraged by it too, because there's a lot of Americans that are suckers believing in that. And there's going to be some dumb people who are going to look at that Kamala's message and say, like, yep, she told us we still have our power.
That, the whole system was focused on us incorrectly. I'm just saying, like, again, of the things we need to explore as we move forward as a campaign and as a country, that does a disservice to voters. And, I think back and think we should have signaled more of our strategy early on about podcasts and who we were trying to reach. But we had a limited amount of time to reach the people who are trying to reach. And
bullshit. Sorry. No, bull. Big pile of bull. You could have gone on, you could have led her to be on the Joe Rogan podcast, and no, that probably might not have saved her campaign. But I mean, the most popular podcast currently in our modern day and age on a lot of platforms, President Trump and his VP, J.D. Vance, both were on it, getting more views to the campaign. Historic amount of views. I mean, that's what it is. And what? You were forcing Joe Rogan to fly out to meet you and also have the interview edited? It's been recently revealed also that Kamala Harris's interviews were edited. And even when she sat down with Oprah and The View, given softball questions, she still couldn't give coherent answers, real answers at all, even saying that she wouldn't change anything under the 4 years of Biden. She couldn't do anything. There was no helping her. No amount of money, no influencer, no high-profile celebrity, no corporate media outlet, no Vote Blue, no matter who's sycophant, could have saved Kamala. And her final message was to people, was like a 4-minute, 5-minute message of, don't give up on yourselves. Now I'm going to go back on vacation as Biden launches the missiles and starts WW3.
We were trying to go to them, but being up against a narrative that we weren't doing anything or we were afraid to have interviews is completely bullshit, and also like took hold a little bit, and we just gave us another thing we had to fight back for that Trump never had to worry about.
Pluff,
just so you know, this is the Kamala campaign. Like they're blaming now the media that gave them everything, the media that laid down a red carpet. Folks, let's have real democracy in the chat. I'll give you the final word. Were you inspired by Kamala's speech yesterday, telling you don't give up your power, even though Citizens United and the McCutcheon decision made sure that you'll never have power? Were you inspired by a type 3? Yes, Kit. And she's going to run again in 2028 to be unburdened by what has been and never been. Type 4, dude, I'm tired. I'm tired, man. I'm just so tired. Okay? I'm tired. I wonder how many 4s are going to be in the chat. I wonder, do you ever wonder? But remember, folks, never give up that power. And excuse me, I'm going to have 5 more shots of whiskey right now.